Introduction. Fast-paced scientists in labs pouring liquids, operating high-tech machinery, followed by a dizzying scroll of endless academic journal websites. If you are a modern researcher, graduate student, or academic, chances are your daily life looks like this. You go into the lab, you run experiments, you gather data, and you read the latest journal articles to figure out how to publish your next paper. You are told that this, and only this, is how you achieve scientific innovation. Is this really science? But what if the modern scientific community has it completely backwards? What if this obsession with lab work and journal articles is actually causing widespread intellectual decline? Today, we are diving into a provocative and essential critique of modern academia by scholar Liu Yue. We're going to discuss why reading textbooks and foundational monographs is infinitely more important than chasing journal literature. The laziness of empirical research. The primacy of theoretical foundations by Liu Yue, SSRN 546-5615. In his recent paper, The Primacy of Theoretical Foundations, Liu Yue highlights a fundamental crisis in contemporary research. Modern scholars have fallen into the trap of believing that doing science simply means doing intuitive, hands-on experiments. Let's be brutally honest, compared to the rigorous, exhausting mental labor required to master abstract theoretical frameworks, running an experiment is actually the easy way out. It requires less intellectual heavy lifting. A scientist doing repetitive pipetting in a lab versus a scholar deep in thought reading a massive, dense textbook. Instead of dedicating the profound mental effort required to read thick, comprehensive monographs and textbooks, modern scientists take the shortcut. They want to see results intuitively. They want to accumulate data. And because their ultimate goal is merely to publish papers and claim innovation, they restrict their reading entirely to recent journal literature. But here is the harsh truth: journal articles are fragmented. They do not elevate your foundational theoretical level. The myth of innovation versus the duty of inheritance. The innovation myth. Modern academia is obsessed with one word: innovation. Everything is driven by the desperate need to find a new niche, a new experimental result, a new gap in the literature. But Liu Yue argues that the scientific community has entirely misunderstood the nature of progress. Science is not merely about innovation. Above all else, science is about inheritance, the mastering and carrying forward of the brilliant achievements already established by human intellect. A massive pyramid, inheritance, with a tiny glowing tip at the top, innovation. Innovation is not something you can force by doing random experiments. True innovation is a natural, spontaneous byproduct that occurs only after you have deeply inherited and understood existing theoretical frameworks. You cannot innovate if you lack theoretical cognitive ability. Period. Yet, today's scientists treat theory as an afterthought, prioritizing a blind, theory-less pursuit of newness. The most important pursuit of a scientist should be inheritance. Without it, your innovations are just data-gathering alchemy. Why textbooks and monographs matter. The Theoretical Poverty of Modern Academia by Liu Yue, SSRN 546-3155. This brings us to another critical paper by Liu Yue, The Theoretical Poverty of Modern Academia. When scientists abandon monographs and textbooks in favor of journal articles, the entire field suffers an intellectual decline. Textbooks and monographs represent the distilled, logically rigorous, and mathematically sound absolute truths of a discipline. They teach you how to think logically. They provide the axioms and the metaphysical structure of nature. Journal articles, on the other hand, are often just fleeting, temporary interpretations of specific, narrow phenomena. If you want to elevate your theoretical cognitive ability, which is the absolute prerequisite for making any real contribution to science, you must return to the foundational texts. You must engage with the rigorous logic that governs the universe, not just the fragmented data points of yesterday's lab experiment. Conclusion and call to action. It is time to rethink what it means to be a scientist. It is time to stop viewing theory as a subservient tool to experiment, and recognize theory as the ultimate pinnacle of human cognition. If you are a researcher feeling stuck in the endless cycle of publish or perish, maybe it's time to step out of the laboratory, close the journal databases, and open a dense, foundational monograph. I highly encourage you to read Liu Yue's full arguments on this topic. Links to his papers, The Primacy of Theoretical Foundations and the Theoretical Poverty of Modern Academia, as well as his essay on the fallacy of empirical orthodoxy, are in the description below. What do you think? Has modern science become too obsessed with lab work at the expense of theoretical mastery? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into the philosophy of science. See you next time.